Hi Gen X, welcome back to the channel. It's a bit windy today. I'm not sure this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. Today's episode is about money. Remember our soundtracks and movies? I'm thinking of Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Pet Shop Boys, Let's Make Money, and of course Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, declaring greed is good. That was the air we breathed as Gen X. Hyper-capitalism, consumerism. We didn't just live it, we celebrated it, and we definitely chased it. But here's the catch. No matter how our income grew, prices grew faster. Even when we had food, shelter, clothing, activities for the kids, and when we had money for all the things that we wanted and needed, there was still that sense of lack. Like, not poverty, but like the culture said, enough wasn't enough. More was enough. That didn't make any sense. So today I'm going to focus on the Gen X participation in the growth of the consumer economy and the consequences of that. But before I continue, I want to thank my subscribers for hanging in there with me. You have my sincere gratitude. Okay, let me back up a little bit. I have this sacred fear that I purposely packed with me when I became an expat. I call it the enemy, and I promised myself that no matter what changed in my life, I would respect the enemy's ability to ruin my life. And that enemy is poverty. You know, I've carried the fear of poverty my whole life. I've measured myself against the poverty line and the minimum wage, and the closer I got to those numbers, the higher my panic would climb. Back in the late 80s and in my early 20s, my husband and I were just starting out. He was an HVAC installer, not making very much money. I was at home running a childcare business. I had 2 little kids. We had just bought our first home. I think I was 22. It was $34,500. It was a 3-bedroom, 1,200 square foot, very modest home, neighborhood. I think there was like a furniture factory a couple blocks away, which is why I was a childcare provider. It's because I had customers close by. So now, if you adjusted for inflation about 2.9% annually over those 37 years, that house should cost around $90,000 today. But the reality, that house is selling for over $200,000. Why? Market dynamics is the explanation I get. Somewhere along the way, houses became more than just shelter. They became financial assets, and then low interest rates poured gasoline on this asset class. Sociologist Robert Merton had a name for this. He called it strain theory. He said that cultural ideals like hard work, upward mobility, and material success can backfire. That these ideals are supposed to bring us security and happiness, but in a consumer-driven economy, the cultural goal of wealth and possessions can push people into debt, overwork, unethical behavior. When legitimate paths don't deliver on the dream. That's many of us Gen Xers. We didn't go unethical, but we believed that happiness meant economic freedom. But the pursuit, I feel some rain. But the pursuit of more became a merry-go-round that doesn't slow down. More work, you buy more, and then you want more, and then you have to store it, and then you buy it some more. So Gen Xers started out on consumer optimism. We were told that education and hard work and buying the right things would secure our future. We admired independence and resourcefulness, like my favorite character, Pippi Longstocking, many favorite characters like Batman, and, well, all the superheroes who lived outside the rules. Yet we fell right in line with the belief that accumulating more things and wealth meant security. Houses, cars, electronics, riding lawnmowers, stuff, lots of stuff. But I see it in my own life. When I had more disposable income, I bought the solutions instead of creating them. Boredom solved with entertainment, broken things replaced instead of repaired, needs met with items instead of my imagination and creativity. If abundance dulls creativity, scarcity sharpens it. And today, living on a small pension that technically puts me below the poverty line, I feel abundant, rich even, with community connections and creativity, resourcefulness, and time. That enemy that I brought with me into retirement was just a way of me not wanting to end the pursuit of more. I didn't think I could end the pursuit of more, honestly. I thought it was baked into who I was. If wealth, or even the middle class, is not attainable, then it cannot be a solution. Then there is no point in making poverty an enemy. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face." So ask yourself, what dream am I chasing? Am I willing to consider it may be an illusion? You may find you are part of someone else's story. I look back at my career as a teacher and I realize I was part of the wealthy class building more wealth. I was part of somebody else making money. That's it. It's that simple. So I'll leave you with this, Gen X. Consumerism and the economy being almost entirely based on purchasing stuff made companies wildly rich and stock market investors wealthy. But you and I are left with exhaustion and burnout and a few dollars in our savings, if we're lucky. Was it worth it to chase the wealth and security dream? For me, it was something interesting to do. But now I can move on to showing up for me, another version without that dream. What about you? Has your time spent pursuing security paid off? Thank you for watching, and until next time, lead, follow, or get out of the way.